Cingari here with another edition of the Must Love MMA show and part 2 of my riveting interview with Chael Sonnen, the bad guy, the gangster. How are you, Chael?
Never better. How are you?
Good. You know, I want to go back to the post-fight press conference because you spoke about the fact that you wanted to box, but you've never really discussed that. Can you tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, I was an aspiring young boxer. My favorite athlete, my favorite fighter was Sugar Ray Leonard. Grew up on him, went right into the Mike Tyson era. And, yeah, my dad was really into boxing. He got me into boxing, and that was it. I mean, I used to aspire to be a boxer. I wanted to make a run at the 2000 Olympic team. I wouldn't have made the team, but I'd have been right there. I'd have been top 5 in one of the guys. And then my dad and I made a decision in 2000 to try to make the wrestling team instead, so I went for that. But I like boxing, yeah.
Congrats on your new baby. What does being a father mean to you?
Oh, she's very precious. So I got a little maniac already. This was number 2. And I got one of each, a boy and a girl, which is a real blessing. My wife and I are very happy. She sleeps all day and she parties all night, though. So if we could just change her schedule around. And my wife and I both know we'll do it her way. But if we had our druthers, she would sleep at the appropriate time.
So you're feeling like a bit sleep deprived with all this, then?
Oh, I'm so tired. I am so tired, and you know it's part of the dues that you pay. Every parent complains. Nobody should feel bad for me. I knew the deal when I got into it, but. Yes, I will admit to you I am very tired. I'm drinking more coffee than usual.
How are you at diaper duty then?
Oh, I'm great at diaper duty. I don't mind any of it. I don't mind the crying, the screaming, any of it. Some stuff I've heard other parents complain, but I waited a long time to hear that scream, and it doesn't bother me in the least.
Chael, what's your secret talent, do you think?
A secret talent? Well, I'm a very good musician. I play the guitar very well. I play the fiddle very well. I could turn the fiddle upside down and play you Orange Blossom Special right now, as a matter of fact.
You could?
So I could. And as a matter of fact, I got the fiddle in the house somewhere. I could do that on one of your segments. I could do it upside down.
We're going to do that on the next interview because I definitely want to see that. The fiddle? How long have you been taking music lessons?
Yeah, but I can't sing a lick. Well, I was self-taught. I taught myself. I mean, I took some classes way back in 6th grade for part of school. But that would probably be my secret talent. I imagine you didn't know that.
What about your favorite musical band then? Is it rock or what is it?
No. I'm not listening to any dude with long hair and earrings. I can assure you that. I like the Gentleman, George Strait. I like the great Charlie Pride. You know, I like country music, but they quit making it. They quit making it in the very early 90s. Now it's all rock and roll. So it's really a bunch of crap today. But if I had my choice, if I had my Sirius radio going, some kind of a internet feed, I would listen to real country, which was done in the mid-'70s, all of the '80s, and the very early '90s.
You know, Chael, you've been very outspoken.
Hey, Susan,
wait.
Hold on. I got to tell you something. So I had a big thrill on Saturday night. You know, I don't know if you saw, but TraceAdkins, he sang. So huge fan, and he's one of the few guys. You know, I'm sitting here telling you how they killed country music, and they did. But he is a true troubadour that does represent that old school, that old mindset, the look, you know, from showing up in black and the cowboy hat. He's the real deal, and I got to meet him. I got a big kick out of that, and he was a real gentleman.
Good for you.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool for me.
You know, Chael, you've been outspoken about some of the obstacles you've faced in the tough times. How did you really overcome these? For other people who are in situations where they're kind of in a feeling a low or down and out, what advice would you give them?
Well, I didn't have any real secret. I was influenced by a couple of people, you know, and one guy I went and listened to talk one day. He just said, "I'll never be a victim. You can never allow yourself to be a victim." And another gentleman had told me one time that, you know, the world's a big place and you can't ever get stuck in the cracks. And, you know, time only goes one way, and it's forward. And if you live in the past, good or bad, you don't want to do that. You want to live for the current moment and what's ahead. And, you know, those were just two things that other people had told me, but they stuck with me. And, you know, you're given a lot of advice in this world, and most of it you probably discard. But you know, for me, those were a couple of big things. And, you know, you never know what tomorrow brings, but that's what it's about. So that was kind of how I got through. And, you know, my father worked really hard every day, got up every day. And, you know, the difference between the good day and what do you do on a good day? You get up when the alarm tells you to, you put your boots on and go to work. What do you do on a bad day? You get up when the alarm tells you to, you put your boots on, and you go face the world. So no matter what's happening, I will always do that.
Good for you. Now, you've shown interest in political offices in the past, running in political offices. Will you dabble in that in the future, do you think?
I have a fantasy of doing that. I have a lot of interest in life and only so much time. So that is something that I have a big interest in. My congressman is worthless, but whenever I come out and I do interviews and I say things like that, he always calls and takes me to lunch and kisses my ass, and I do appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that he'll do anything he can to keep me out of the race. But I don't know that I'm going to jump in either. It is one of those things where I have a fantasy, I have an interest in it, but we'll see what happens there.
Who are your heroes, do you think?
Oh, my heroes, I came from, most of my heroes are right in my family. I really looked up to my cousins. I was the youngest boy, and they were all very tough guys, very smart guys, very accomplished wrestlers. And, so I really just looked up to my own cousins. And then, in fighting, and I had Matt Lindland and Dan Henderson and Randy Couture were always the guys that I admired. We've got a guy in Oregon here who you probably haven't heard of. He's actually the toughest guy I've ever met at my time on the. Yeah, his name is Les Gutches. He's somebody that I really looked up to. So, and I'm a Catholic. My Pope is John Paul II. Rest his soul. So, I admired him a lot too.
Looking back on your MMA career, is there anyone you would like to fight again?
That I'd fight again, man. I'd fight them all again. I like the sport. I don't like most of the guys in the sport. It's like my father told me: you got no friends from 9 to 5. So I would fight any of them. I've never been one of those guys where I look at the rankings and I wouldn't care if you've never heard of the guy. If he wants to fight, then I want to fight him. It's as simple as that. If he's got a big name and I can go out and do something, that's fine too. But I don't give a damn. The rules are the same. And if someone wants to fight, you got to fight.
Now, during this interview, I see a different side of you. So I got to ask you, are you really the bad guy, or is this just all a huge facade like many MMA fighters out there? Because I don't feel like you're the bad guy.
Don't let these blue eyes fool you. But behind everything you see here, behind this fancy office, the nice smile and the insanely large paycheck they hand me, sits a dirty, rotten cage fighter, and I will turn on you or anybody else just for laughs.
All right, fair enough. Do you stay up late at night making up those poems?
I am candy-coated poison, my friend. I am a snake with blue eyes. Trust me. Never trust a gangster.
What about late at night? Do you stay up late at night to make up these rapping rhymes, or do they just come to you all of a sudden?
Yeah, they different parts of the day. Driving around in my car when I'm alone and have a little quiet is probably where I do the most thinking for some of that stuff. But I am a night owl, so I suppose late at night a little bit too. But late at night is kind of my time to myself. The whole family goes to sleep. My wife falls asleep kind of early. She's a real early riser. She's early in bed, early rise. So I do still get a little bachelor time to myself, 3 or 4 hours a night, and I usually veg out a little bit. I watch some different TV shows, surf the internet, so might not be my best time to think, but I do enjoy those moments.
What's the best advice you can give to a young MMA fighter, an amateur that wants to go pro?
Yeah, real simple. Be consistent. Show up every day. Get a coach in a gym. Get in the right environment to start with. Get a coach that you trust. Get a gym that you trust. Surround yourself with people that are like-minded, goal-oriented like you. But most importantly, show up every single day. And, if you could just get 1 degree better, 1 degree every single day, it adds up. And the guys that reach their goals are the guys that are consistent. And the guys that don't are the guys that just aren't there every single day. It's a grind. But those weeks turn to months, turn to years, turn into a career. And it goes by very fast.
So many challenges recently we've seen with weight cutting, and you discuss this in your book, The 4-Pack Revolution. Can you talk a little bit about the weight cutting aspect of the book, and then we're going to come back to you for a third interview actually later on, where we're going to just discuss the book. But I just want to focus on the weight cutting issue, because you talk about that and some of the tips you can give to our viewers.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, as far as weight loss goes, Susan, the dirtiest secret in weight loss is time. And time doesn't sell books. People want a quick fix. What can I do today to look good by this weekend? What can I do on Friday to look good by Monday? It doesn't work that way. But if you lie, if you tell people it does, they'll come out and separate with some of their money to hear your secrets that end up not working. So the dirtiest secret is time. And if you can't make a commitment, if you can't make a 1-year commitment, and I won't put you on a diet, but I will change your eating habits. And I think right out of the gate, just that word diet is a turnoff to a lot of people. So don't go on diets, but change your eating habits. If you can't make a 1-year commitment, then stop bitching. Getting healthy and looking the way you want just isn't for you. It's going to take some effort.
Right.
And I mean, that's the real reality, is just changing people's mindsets. I've heard people my entire life come out and want to talk about diet and nutrition. But I do stand back arrogantly and say, what would you know about it? I come from the only field in the world where your boss will weigh you in before he lets you go to work. Nobody else has that. Nobody else has had to make weight every single Saturday since they were 9 years old. And I offer you that just because I do come from a different perspective. I do understand what it's like. It is action, and not just for myself, but for the people around me. This is what I grew up doing. And so, to get your goals, you're going to have to change a couple of things mentally. But it's also going to take some time. So start today. If you go on a really big diet, I've had to go on really just crash courses before. One time I had to lose 36.2 pounds in 21 days.
Wow.
And physically, it was the hardest thing that I ever did. It was such a struggle. And I can just tell you, so doing everything right, cannibalizing, not eating enough calories, training 2 and 3 times a day, doing everything right, I could lose 3 pounds a week. And a lot of people are going to look at it and go, that's it? Yes, that's all.
Wow.
That's all a person can really lose. So, slow that down to 1.5 pounds a week. Don't go train 2 and 3 times a day like I did. If you can drop 1 pound to 1.5 pounds a week over the course of the year, it's going to be an incredible process. But if you can't make dedication to time and commitment, there's not a lot I can do or anybody can do for you. I can sell you books and make you promises that don't come true like everybody else did. I can level with you, and that's what I did in this book.
Good advice. There really are no shortcuts then.
There's no shortcuts.
Tell us where we can get the book, Chael.
You can get the book anywhere they sell books. I tell people to go to Amazon because I don't like to leave the house myself, but you can go anywhere you want. Barnes & Noble on down. If they sell books, they're selling mine.
How do you think, looking back on MMA, it's changed since you first started in the game?
Oh, it's completely different. I can remember when Dana White got involved in this thing, and he was making claims it's going to be the biggest sport, the fastest growing, and we're going to sell out big arenas someday. And I was part of it. I wanted to believe it, Susan, but man, those claims were too big. I just got done fighting at a great fight down at the dog park. 80 people were there. I'd never performed in front of 80 people in my whole life. Dana White's talking about selling out the same arena that they sell out, for NBA games. Come on. The success it's had, it's unbelievable. There used to be 5 to 6 shows a year. I was in the UFC when they moved to 13 shows a year. When they moved to 23 shows a year. Scott Coker's going to do 23 shows this year. 23 shows in a 52-week calendar year. You're talking about every other weekend. And, then you got the UFC on top of that. You got some guys going in, parts of Asia, ONE FC, where my friend Ben Askren's champion. And, the sport has just really blown up. People understand it. People get what's going on there.
Yeah.
You throw the mouthpieces, you take your shirt off, and you go fight with very limited rules, and people just understand it. So it's really blown my mind. As far as being in the sport, I really got lucky and came along at the right time, and it's one of the reasons I extended my career. I don't want to miss out. I don't want to miss out on where the sport is headed.
You have the podcast, you commentate, you're a new dad again, you train. What does a typical day look like for you?
It starts pretty early. I set an alarm every night, but usually my dog gets me up. He's got to get outside, and it's usually a little earlier than I want. So somewhere around 6 o'clock, and then I grab some coffee, and I watch the news every day, and kind of go through my emails and my phone. And by the time I get up, maybe 10 to 7, something like that. I'm in the shower by 7 and up and running, and I go to bed pretty late. I go to bed at about midnight to 1 a.m. But I'll tell you, Susan, I despise it, is a day off. I hate to look at my calendar and see I don't have anything to do tomorrow. So I try to stay busy. That's weekends and everything. The last thing in the world I want is a vacation.
Yeah, that's exactly like me as well. But I don't feel like reporting on MMA is a job anyway. It's a blessing for me. So
I appreciate you saying that, and I think that's why so many people gravitate towards you, because it does feel like that. You just have conversations, and you have a passion for it. It's why I like watching your work. But I feel the same way. I also don't feel like it's a job. And when I got into it, it wasn't. There was no money, there was no fame, there was no opportunity. It was just about competition. And so it's very fortunate that some of the leaders of this industry were able to create something for the rest of us. But I'm with you. It doesn't feel like a job. It's fun.
Never a job. Okay, I want you to fill in this blank. If I were not an MMA fighter, I would be a
President of the United States.
Okay. Good enough. We might see you there as well. All right, now we're going to go to some fan questions. T to the Junk asks, I'm curious who you think is the best wrestling super prospect in Bellator. Is it Pico, Black Ice Davis, Fortune, Cotton, Ruth, Storley, etc.?
It is definitely Tyrell Fortune at number 1.
Really?
But who's number 2? Man, you just lifted off some great ones there. And that Aaron Pico's a special talent. A couple years, he'll be coming after Tyrell's spot. But for right now, particularly with the heavyweight division, Tyrell's the guy. Tyrell's never lost. I believe he's at 4-0 right now. But we could have this conversation in 5 years. He'll be at 50-0. He's not getting beat by anybody.
Interesting.
Mark my words. He is not getting beat. That's a big claim in this sport.
That's a big claim.
Nobody goes 50-0 in MMA. I mean, that's ridiculous. I'm telling you, nobody is beating Tyrell Fortune.
Should we make a bet on that?
I'll make you a bet on that. Yeah, and you should take that bet, because that's a crazy claim I'm making right now, but I'm standing by it.
What's the bet then? What's the bet?
Let's just make a bet. Let's just make a reasonable bet, a favor bet.
Okay.
I owe you a favor, you owe me a favor.
Okay.
We'll be reasonable to honorable people here.
Okay.
Give me a timeline, though. Let's call it something so we can, 3 years?
3 years.
Give me 3 years, I'm telling you, Tyrell's still undefeated. Yes?
Okay, 3 years.
You're on. Bet.
All right, we got one more fan question for you today. Much MMA wants to know, do you intend to end your career in Bellator, as you seem to cover more UFC journalism than Bellator events?
Yeah, I will definitely stay with Bellator for the rest of my career, yes. I like to cover the sport of MMA, and that is true, what they just said. I do cover a lot of UFC. There's a lot of excitement going on there. And then I'll cover, Ben Askren is doing something on ONE FC. I'll cover him specifically. But look, I cover plenty of Bellator too. Right. But in fairness, that is an accurate statement. There does seem to be a little bit more UFC content, so I'll take that. I think it's a criticism, because at some points it could make me appear unloyal. But I'll take that criticism. Okay. I do cover a lot of UFC stuff.
Fair enough. All right, today is Tito Ortiz's birthday.
Oh.
You guys bury the hatchet? Do you want to wish him happy birthday?
No, I bury that hatchet right in the back of his head if I ever get the opportunity to. No, I mean, happy birthday to him. I want him to have a good life, But no, I do not enjoy Tito Ortiz.
Okay.
But I don't begrudge him for having a good a birthday. So sure, happy birthday to Tito.
Before we go today, anything else you want to add today, Chael?
No, this was real fun. I hope we're gonna do this again, and I love your setting there. You've got such a good camera shot. I got to figure out what kind of camera.
We're gonna get you a new camera.
Yeah, well, I can tell that just by looking at your shot. That's very professional. So yeah, let me know what you use, and I'll run by Best Buy and pick it up for myself.
We worked hard on that. I'll give you the tips after the interview. All right, before we go today, I'd like to thank my viewers for watching the show. And if you would like to subscribe, you can click on the link below. You can also follow me on Instagram at Susan Cingari MMA. And yeah, folks, that's me answering all the Twitters at night myself late at Susan Cingari. So if you have any comments or suggestions or questions for Chael for next time, throw them up on Twitter and we'll get back to you. You can follow Chael Sonnen on Twitter at Chael Sonnen, on Instagram at SonnenCH, and on Facebook at facebook.com/Chael Sonnen. Chael, thanks so much for taking the time to speak with me. I look forward to speaking to you next time in depth about the book.
I had a great time. Thanks, Susan.
Thank you.